Who can you truly count on after 60? It's a simple question, but it strikes deeper than most. Maybe you've asked it in a quiet moment, staring at the kitchen window while the kettle boils, or lying awake at 3 a.m. when sleep won't come and your mind drifts to all you've given, all you've built, and all that's changing. For decades, you were the center of so many lives. A parent, a partner, a professional, a friend. You gave love, time, and effort without condition. But now, the house is quieter. The phone rings less often, and slowly, you begin to wonder, when everything you once gave to others has returned to the world, who is truly standing beside you? Some say it's family, some say it's old friends, but even love doesn't guarantee presence. Life moves, people grow busy, circumstances shift, and the truth is, if we rely entirely on others to hold up our future, we may find ourselves standing alone. But here's the truth they don't tell you enough. You are not meant to fade into the background. You are meant to rise, not just survive aging, but shape it. And to do that, you need something deeper than people. You need a foundation, a core of strength that no loss, no distance, no disappointment can shake. Today, we begin the journey of building that foundation through 5 powerful pillars that will redefine how you see this chapter of life. Pillars that will help you reclaim your joy, your confidence, and your freedom. Before we begin, if this message speaks to you, subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Story. Join a growing community of people who believe that life after 60 isn't the end of the story. It's where the soul begins to write freely. For the very first time, let's begin. Number 1, a clear sense of purpose. The secret to a meaningful life. What makes you rise in the morning with a heart that feels awake? Not just a body that's out of bed, that quiet fire that says, I'm still needed, I still matter. That fire is called purpose, and it is not reserved for the young or the working or the busy. It may be more essential after 60 than at any time before. For many years, your purpose may have been clear: raising children, building a career, caring for others. There were appointments to keep, goals to reach, and people who needed you. But then, retirement comes. The kids move out, the calendar opens up, and one morning, you ask yourself, what now? This is where many people begin to feel lost, not because they lack time, but because they lack a reason. But here's what they forget. Purpose doesn't end when parenting ends. It doesn't expire when you stop working. Purpose simply shifts. It becomes more personal, more soulful, and more powerful. Take the story of James Wilson. For 38 years, James worked as an engineer, solving problems, leading teams, building things. But when he retired at 65, he found himself adrift. No meetings, no projects, no one asking for his input. At first, he enjoyed the quiet, but after a few months, it turned into emptiness. He felt invisible in his own life. Then, one afternoon, he stumbled upon his old toolbox in the garage, covered in dust, still filled with the chisels and measuring tape from years ago. He picked up a piece of scrap wood and began to carve. Nothing fancy, just a simple bench, but something inside him stirred. A few weeks later, he donated it to a local shelter. The shelter called back, "Can you make more?" And so, he did. In time, James turned his garage into a small workshop, not for profit, but for meaning. He crafted furniture for families who had none. His hands, once used for machines, were now shaping comfort, dignity, and beauty. His days were full again, not of pressure, but of purpose. Your purpose doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be real. Maybe it's writing the stories of your life, so your grandchildren know where they come from. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's mentoring a young person, teaching someone to bake, to garden, to live with grace. Maybe it's simply deciding to learn something new, to study history, or music, or a language, just because you can. Purpose is anything that gives your days weight and your heart warmth. It is the difference between aging and living. If you don't yet know your purpose, start with this question: what have I always loved, but never had time for? That's your compass. Follow it, even slowly, even imperfectly, because a clear sense of purpose is the first pillar to a life of freedom after 60. It gives you more than direction. It gives you dignity. Are you ready to rediscover what makes your soul come alive? Number 2, a supportive social circle, the power of connection. Let's ask a gentle but necessary question. When was the last time you laughed, truly laughed, with someone who made you feel seen? In the rush of modern life, we often overlook how vital connection is. But after 60, when children are grown and careers quiet down, something unexpected happens. The calendar empties, but so does the room, the silence. At first, can feel like rest, but over time, it begins to feel like an absence. And in that absence, loneliness grows. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet ache, an empty chair at dinner, a day with no one to call, a memory that no one else remembers but you. The truth is, we are not meant to walk this life alone. Companionship is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And here's the good news. It's never too late to build a circle that nourishes you. Let me tell you about Margaret Evans. At 68, Margaret had just retired from a long nursing career. Her children lived out of state, and her husband had passed 5 years prior. For a while, she tried to fill her days with chores and television, but the silence became louder than anything else. One day, she walked into the community center and saw a flyer. Water aerobics, no experience needed. Her first instinct, I'm too old. But something deeper whispered, try. That small step changed everything. Margaret didn't just find a class, she found people, friends, fellow widows, grandmothers, a retired librarian named Nora, who made her laugh until her stomach hurt. A retired postman shared his homemade peach jam. The pool sessions turned into coffee chats. Coffee chats turned into friendships. Within months, Margaret's life wasn't just full again, it was joyful. You see, connection doesn't depend on age, it depends on courage. The courage to show up, to reach out, to let someone in. So, how do you build that circle? Start with what brings you joy. Love books, join a reading club, miss movement, try Tai Chi in the park, love growing things. There's a gardening group out there waiting for your stories. Volunteering is another powerful bridge. When you offer time, you often receive companionship in return. Whether it's at a food bank, an animal shelter, or mentoring youth, your presence matters. And don't underestimate the power of reconnection. Sometimes, the friend you miss is just one phone call away. Don't wait for the perfect words. I was thinking of you is enough. Be open to new people. The woman you greet in line at the grocery store could become a walking partner. The man at the dog park might share your love for old jazz records. Connection hides in plain sight. All it asks is that you notice. And remember, a strong social circle isn't about quantity, it's about quality. Just one or two people you can laugh with, cry with, sit in silence with. That is gold. If you've felt lonely lately, you are not broken. You are human, and you have the power to reach, rebuild, and reconnect. You deserve community. You deserve to be heard, seen, and embraced, not despite your age, but because of it. We're here, and we're walking this journey with you. Number 3, emotional resilience, the strength to overcome life's changes. Let's speak honestly. Life after 60 is not always gentle. Some days carry grief. Others bring change you didn't ask for. The world, once so familiar, begins to shift. And you are left wondering, how do I stay steady when everything around me moves? This is where emotional resilience becomes not just important, but essential. Emotional resilience is the quiet power to bend without breaking, to feel deeply but not drown, to lose something dear, yet still choose to keep living with an open heart. It's not about being strong in the way people once expected, holding back tears, pretending everything is fine. No. Real resilience means feeling everything fully and still choosing to stand back up. Take the story of Robert Harris. He was a retired Navy veteran, married to his wife Elaine for 40 years. They had traveled the world, raised 3 children, and built a life rich with routine and love. But when Elaine passed suddenly after a short illness, Robert felt like the floor had disappeared beneath him. The silence in their home was unbearable. Her shoes were by the door. Her tea mug was sitting on the kitchen shelf. For months, he sat in that silence, lost. But one day, Robert walked past a community mural project. A group of veterans was painting a wall with scenes of memory, resilience, and hope. One of them waved him over. "You served?" they asked. He nodded. That invitation, so simple, pulled him back into the world. He began painting, not because he was an artist, but because color spoke when words failed. He joined their weekly meetups, told stories, listened, cried, laughed. He started volunteering at the VA hospital, sitting with patients who didn't want to be alone. Over time, something began to return to him. Not the life he lost, but the strength to carry it forward. Emotional resilience is not born, it's built. So, how do you build yours? Start with gratitude, not the forced kind, the kind that whispers, even in pain, something beautiful remains. Each morning, write down 3 small things you're grateful for. A warm bed, a call from a friend, the way the sunlight touches your garden. Gratitude changes the lens through which you see the world. Next, nourish your emotional life with activities that ground you. Read novels that stir your imagination, tend to a garden that teaches patience, listen to music that speaks when words fail. These aren't just hobbies, they're anchors. Surround yourself with people who see the light in you, especially when you forget it's there. Avoid those who drain your energy or belittle your feelings. You've earned the right to protect your peace, and most importantly, ask for help when you need it. Therapy is not weakness. Support groups are not shameful. Reaching out is not a failure. It's a form of wisdom. It says, I value myself enough to ask for what I need. There is no shame in sorrow, but there is freedom in healing. Resilience is not the absence of tears. It's the decision to keep watering the garden. Even while grieving the storm, you are still growing. You are still capable of joy. And if this message touches something deep inside you, subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Story now, because in this space, we honor not just your strength, but the path it took to build it. Number 4, financial independence. The key to true freedom. There's a kind of quiet fear that settles in when you're unsure whether your money will last longer than your years. It's not just about numbers in a bank account. It's about dignity. It's about being able to say, I can make my own choices. I can take care of myself. I don't have to ask permission to live. That's what financial independence truly means. It's not about being wealthy. It's about being free. Free to decide where you live. Free to afford quality health care. Free to visit your grandchildren without worrying about gas money. Free to buy fresh fruit because it brings you joy. Not just because it's on sale. Sadly, many people cross into retirement believing that things will just work themselves out, that Social Security will be enough, that family will help if things get tight. And while those systems can be supportive, they were never meant to carry everything. The truth is, long-term security is not something given. It's something built. Let me share the story of John Parker. John spent 40 years working as a car mechanic. He was known for being honest, hardworking, and always willing to help a neighbor. But when he retired at 65, he had almost nothing saved. He thought his small pension and Social Security would be enough. But rising costs, food, rent, medication, quickly told him otherwise. One day, while attending a community fair, he sat in on a free financial workshop for seniors. What he learned shocked him. His spending habits were draining what little income he had. And with no plan, he could be in serious trouble within a few years. But here's what makes John different. He didn't give up. He got serious. Within 5 years, John had rebuilt his finances. He didn't become rich, but he became secure, and more importantly, he felt powerful again. So, how can you begin? Start with a clear and honest look at your spending. Create a simple budget that separates needs from wants. Are there areas you can simplify? A smaller living space? Fewer luxuries? Or a different insurance plan can make all the difference. Explore new income streams. Maybe you have a skill, baking, sewing, fixing things that could turn into a small side business. Maybe you can rent a room in your home. Maybe you have a hobby that others would gladly pay to learn. Learn about low-risk investments, bonds, dividend-paying stocks. And annuities aren't just for the wealthy. With guidance, even modest savings can grow. Stay informed. Attend free workshops. Connect with a financial advisor you trust. The more you understand money, the more control you regain. Financial independence means you get to say yes and no on your terms. It means aging with options, not limitations. And the best part? It's never too late to begin. Whether you're 60 or 75 or 80, there is always something you can do today to strengthen your tomorrow. Because peace of mind is not a gift from the world. It's a gift you build for yourself. You deserve to live with security, with confidence, with choice. Number 5, physical health, the power to stay independent. They say, if you don't make time for your health, you'll be forced to make time for illness. And nowhere is that more true than in the years after 60. Because here's the truth many ignore. It's not your age that limits you, it's your strength, your energy, your mobility. Your body is not just a vessel, it is your freedom, the ability to get out of bed without pain, to walk through the park without fear of falling, to lift your groceries, to travel, to hug your grandchild, to dance in your kitchen on a quiet Sunday morning. And yet, far too many people surrender their physical strength without a fight. They believe weakness is inevitable, that frailty is natural, that the body is supposed to slow down. But while aging is inevitable, decay is not. Let me tell you about Helen Matthews. At 70, Helen was diagnosed with early-stage osteoporosis. Her doctor gave her a warning. If you don't change something now, you may lose your ability to walk without assistance in just a few years. For 2 weeks, Helen cried. She felt betrayed by her own body. But then, he decided to fight back. Not with pills alone, but with action. She began walking 20 minutes every morning, slowly. At first, then briskly. She added light strength training using resistance bands. Twice a week, she overhauled her diet, adding leafy greens, calcium-rich foods, and plenty of water. She cut back on sugar. She joined a Tai Chi group at the community center, not just for movement, but for balance and connection. And within 1 year, her posture improved. Her bone scans stabilized. She felt energized, proud, and capable. She regained more than strength. She regained her sense of control. Your body wants to work for you, but you have to work with it. You don't need a gym membership or an extreme routine. You just need consistency, commitment, compassion. Here's where to start. Move a ritual. A 20-30-minute walk each day improves circulation, boosts mood, and strengthens your heart. Walking is free medicine. Build muscle. Light weightlifting, even soup cans or resistance bands, can maintain muscle mass and prevent the frailty that leads to falls. Don't wait until you feel weak. Start before, stretch and balance. Practices like yoga, Tai Chi, or gentle Pilates improve flexibility, reduce stiffness, and train your body to move with grace and control. Eat with care. Your body needs fuel, not just food. Focus on whole grains, lean protein, leafy vegetables, berries, and plenty of hydration. Cut back on processed foods and excess salt. Sleep and rest. Quality sleep is healing. Avoid screens before bed. Create a calming nighttime routine. Listen to your body's signals, don't ignore them. And finally, see your doctor, not just when you're sick, but to stay well. Get regular screenings, stay informed, prevent problems before they begin. Caring for your physical health is not vanity, it's not selfish. It is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for the people who love you. Because when you are strong, You are free, free to say yes to life, to show up fully, to explore, to dance, to laugh, to live. You've carried others for so long. Now, let your body carry you into the future with confidence. So now, we return to the question we asked at the beginning. Who can you truly count on after 60? You've spent a lifetime caring for others, giving without condition, and standing strong through every storm. And yes, people may come and go, seasons shift, roles dissolve, but in the quiet of your soul, one truth remains. You are not helpless. You are not invisible. You are not done. The person you can count on, the one who's been there all along, is you, not in isolation, but in strength, in wisdom, in the quiet power of someone who chooses not to fade, but to rise. And with the 5 pillars you've now seen, a clear sense of purpose, a supportive social circle, emotional resilience, financial independence, and physical health, you hold in your hands the blueprint for a life that doesn't just last, it shines. This is not the end of your story. It's the opening of a new volume, one written by your hand. You get to choose how these years will unfold. Will they be heavy with regret or light with discovery? Will you shrink or expand into everything you've always wanted to be? This chapter isn't about waiting for someone else to show up. It's about realizing you are already enough, you are capable, you are wise, you are powerful, and most of all, you are still becoming. If this journey has stirred something in you, if it's reminded you of your worth, your strength, your deep, unshakable value, then I invite you, with all my heart, to subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Story, because this isn't just a channel, it's a gathering place, a place for those who still believe in purpose, for those who choose to keep growing, for those who know that the best parts of life are not behind, but still ahead. The future is yours. How will you shape it?